everyone, and welcome to our second episode of TritonVision. I'm your host, Devanée Williams, and today I am joined by Eckerd College head baseball coach Josh Beauregard and student athlete Tyler Young. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, our first question today is, like many of our other Eckerd teams on campus, this year marked a significant rebuilding phase for the Triton's baseball team with the addition of 17 new student athletes. With baseball being a team with the most team members, how do you foster team chemistry on the field and maintain that chemistry throughout the season?
Well, I don't know. I think it starts in the fall when the guys come in and you kind of have expectations of where you want the team to go come springtime. It starts there. I think coaches have, a way of making those things semi-happen, but really I think it's the student athletes and what they're doing on and off the field and how well they're communicating and hanging out and developing their relationships, because there's been teams that love each other that win, there's been teams that hate each other that win, but at the end of the day, if everybody's on the same page, it makes life a heck of a lot easier for sure. So these guys seem to have a good grasp. They have good relationships from what I can tell. But I mean, it's a smaller campus too. They're around each other all the time, so that kind of helps us, so that they can hang out a little bit more on and off the field.
Yeah, like Bo said, I think we have a really good group this year, and I think we just gelled immediately. Just on the field, off the field, we're always doing stuff, hanging out, and so I think this year the group that we have, we're doing a pretty good job of kind of learning each other and building that chemistry pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I know, even for smaller teams, it can be harder to get, good team bonding going throughout the season, but...
Yeah, if team chemistry was a perfect science, there'd be a lot more people doing it. I think it's, picking your players wisely as a coach, I think is important in kind of the things that you value, because then you don't have to harp on those things as much. They're inherently part of the group. But yeah, I think it's much more challenging than most people say. My team hears me say it all the time: losing solves problems, winning can't. Or opposite, winning solves problems, losing can't. Because when you're winning, everybody can have the perception that things are great, things are lovely. When you're losing, it's hard to hide because frustrations can boil over pretty quickly. So, a real team will be tested in many different ways, and as long as they, I talk to them all the time, it's about your friends well after you're gone. You have teammates now, but somewhere down the road you're going to need a good friend, and hopefully that's what they're developing now, is good core friends that will be able to help them for the rest of their lives and be somebody that they can count on for sure.
I think, like Bo said, trying to bring in the right guys. I think a lot of us are, we're very competitive internally, and so just we're very like-minded in that way, and so I think that's another reason that we've been really successful.
So as the start of the season came up this past weekend, what are you guys most looking forward to as we enter the rest of the season, and what are some short-term goals you have to accomplish within the next few series?
Yeah, I think, it's always fun to compete. You know what I mean? It really feels like forever since we've had the opportunity to play somebody different, because you end somewhere in the middle of May, they go off and do their summer thing, you come back in the fall and you have a couple outside competition, but it is until you kind of get into the flow of things and playing continuously that you can kind of see what your team's going to emerge to be. Always our short-term goals is to kind of very short-sighted, win the next game, and we got a good test this weekend against Georgia College, so we get to look forward to Saturday and try to go out there and compete then, because anytime you get too far out ahead of yourself, usually you get snake bit, and that's no fun. We got some short-term goals that we got to improve on. This past weekend we didn't play our best defense. I think we played one of our best games and one of our worst games that I've coached here at Eckerd. So, having those two things, seeing both the best that you can be and potentially the worst, it's trying to sharpen those things and polish the rock, as we would say, and trying to get a little bit, better at the little things. And when you do that, you give yourself a better chance to win for sure.
Yeah.
From a player's perspective, being able to compete against a team with a different jersey on, there's something exciting about it. It feels like it matters more, the atmosphere, and so every time we go out and do that, speaking for the rest of the guys, we're fired up, we're excited to do that. And so that's what I'm looking forward to most every day, is just getting the opportunity to go out and play.
Yeah. All right, so our next question is for Coach Bo.
Yeah.
As an Eckerd alum of 2003, you had an extremely successful Triton baseball career yourself. So what is it like being able to coach at your alma mater, and what made you decide to stay with Eckerd?
Yeah, I think some of it's circumstance. You know, when I first got on board here at Eckerd, you know, it was just kind of the end of my playing career. And having an opportunity to become a coach was something that I didn't think would happen right away, especially a head coach. And now being the head coach of the baseball team and having those things, I think sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. I'm always reminded when we win and I get texts from alums and friends and stuff like that, and they're very excited about the product that we're putting out there. And I'm also reminded when we lose too. I have a core group of buddies that lets me know that, you know, they expect more from me and that there's a lot riding on me to do well. So those things are also, I think, are great because they're motivating for me. But Eckerd in general has provided me such wonderful opportunities. You know, being from a small town in New Hampshire, I never thought I would go to college. I never thought I'd play baseball in college, but it was a dream of mine. You know, so I just took a chance on myself and came to Eckerd, and you know, it's provided me an education. It's provided me the opportunity to play in college, the opportunity to play professionally, the opportunity to come back and coach and have a coaching career. This is where I met my wife. My kids are growing up here, so I mean, that whole thing makes it, you know, just a special place for me and my family for sure. But you know, I'm a very competitive person, so I really want to see this program succeed at a high level. And go to regionals consistently and compete for national championships. That's my ultimate goal. And you know, it's hard to sleep until you get there, really.
Yeah. I feel like it's everyone's dream to like come back to work for their alma mater, especially as a coach, like being able to coach a team that you've seen like continue to grow from when you were on the field, and just seeing new athletes accomplish the same things that you did. And
yeah, I look forward to watching all of them. I want them all to break the records except for the ones I have. You know, so that's your ultimate goal as a coach, is to see players perform at their very best, you know, and it's figuring out the right buttons to push at the right time and providing them the structure that they need in order to get to that point. And again, that's not a perfect science. It takes, you know, conversations, it takes meetings, it takes practice, it takes pushing a button, it takes pat on the butt and a kick in the butt. But seeing the changes that our program's made, you know, like not only the physical changes that, you know, we start to see on the field where, you know, things are happening, and then the new athletes that come through. I think one of my fondest coaching moments has actually just happened this past weekend, where we had 9 or 10 you know, recent alums within the last 2 or 3 years come out to the game, and that for me was very rewarding because they were coming back out, you know, not just to say hi to me, but to support the program and say what's up to the guys, and they're still attached to them in some way, you know, because when he was a freshman, they had a different group of seniors, and when he's a senior, there's going to be a different group of freshmen, and it's hard to keep those long relationships because there's such a big gap year-wise. So that was really nice to see. And then certainly our alumni events, you know, when we have guys coming out from, you know, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s, it's really nice to see everybody back engaged with our program and trying to help it succeed, you know, in their own unique ways.
So our final question of the day is for student athlete Tyler Young. You dealt with adversity in your first 2 seasons with the Tritons, and how have you worked to overcome that and to be a part of the starting lineup this season?
I think everyone deals with adversity throughout various points of their career, so I don't think my journey in particular dealing with adversity is unique. You know, like I said, just trusting that things are going to pay off.
We're going to play a little game where we will see how many MLB teams both of these guys can name in 30 seconds. All right, are you guys ready?
Who's going first, him or me? You go first.
Baltimore.
Seattle.
New York Yankees.
Athletics.
Rays.
Angels.
Braves.
Giants.
Mets.
Dodgers.
Chicago White Sox.
Padres.
Cubs.
Astros.
Brewers.
Rangers.
Angels.
Marlins.
Dodgers.
Got him. Milwaukee.
Got them.
Okay. Denver.
All right, time is up.
I started going here.
Say the Dodgers already?
Yeah, well, I went kind of down in my head, and then I was over into Texas, and then once you get past there, like we forgot the Cardinals and we forgot like all the Midwest.
middle.
Yeah, Reds. How many we get?
Not
You
that
had
many.
9, you had 10.
This concludes our second episode of Triton Vision, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Go Tritons.